Hello. Okay, I am live and I am sharing my screen. I don't know if anyone can see my face. If you can, I'm here. This is the first time that I am sharing my screen, and I'm wondering if I was to stop sharing my screen, will I be able to share it again later? And I'm worried I won't be able to. Okay. If you can hear me, let me know. I'm pretty confident that you cannot see me. Okay, I'm pretty confident you can't see me, but if you're online, let me know. Say hello, write in the comments. If you can see me, I'll keep smiling and keep looking into the camera. Hopefully you can hear me okay. There has been a lot of sirens that have just gone past me. Let's see if I can change this. If I can I'm trying to see if I can put my face on the side. Hi Melissa. I'm just going to get started. You might not be able to see me. Let me know if you can see me. You should be seeing my desktop, an Excel document that says course goal, how to peel an apple, which we're not going to be working on today. We're going to be working on a real course. But let me know if you cannot see me, and let me know if that bothers you or not. If you would prefer to have a face embedded, because we can always look at a different platform to use, and maybe I'll figure out a better way to do it later on. So okay, I'm thinking if I was to stop my screen share, I'm worried that if I stop my screen share, then I won't be able to share my screen again. Okay, thanks Melissa. I'm not going to take that I'm not going to take that as a negative thing, but thanks for letting me know. Right, so if you are watching this in live, just like Melissa, say hello, let me know if you have any questions. If you are watching this on replay, like always, comment in the box, send me a message, let me know if you do have questions. What you may have seen me post about today is going through a behind the scenes of course creation, where I am creating a real life course, as in I'm going to be creating a course and I want to show you some important steps that I'm doing. So I have this template open in front of you today, which we will have a look at shortly. The purpose of today's session is to answer the question that I receive quite a lot about how do I structure my course content? How do I structure it all, and then how do I present it? How do I organize all of my content so it is easier for my students to go through? Now, to answer this question, we need to go back into the designing section of our courses. So you've seen me talk a lot about courses has 3 stages. There are 3 steps in this Facebook group: design, create, and launch. And those 3 steps, we go through them in iterations. So little by little, we will create our first version, then our second version, then our third version of a course. And I recently gave the example that we can start with a mini course. We can then go into a beta course. We can then go into a full-blown course. Now, my point that I want to make is that when we see this question, or when we have this difficulty of how do I structure my course, regardless what type of course it is, regardless if it is a short course that's 1 week, regardless if it is a year-long program that's with only several clients, regardless if it's a one-to-one training program, regardless what type of program it is, the way that you would structure your course will be the same. You would follow the same outlines. And what I recommend is following the 3-step outlines that I've mentioned, which is your goal, your 3 to 5 learning outcomes, and then your knowledge, skills, and abilities. Now, it's easy for me to say that. It's easy for me to turn around and say, right, Melissa, you need ABC for your course. You need 1, 2, 3. It's so easy for me to say that, and it's so easy for you to hear that. But then putting that into action is a completely different thing. Completely different. So that's why I wanted to start this behind the scenes. So rather than giving you examples like you can see here of how to peel an apple, what it actually is let's look at a real life course. So when I design my courses, you've heard me say before that I will use post-it notes. I've got post-it notes in front of me, but you cannot see me. So those post-it notes, I start to map out what my course would look like. And now I've done this process already. So now I'm putting all of that information here into this course outline template. So my course goal is how to launch an online course, believe it or not. Now I already know that there are 3 modules to this, so I'm actually going to write over these. And my first module is design an online course. My second module is create an online course. My third module is launch an online course. Right, so I already have an idea that those are my 3 modules. Now I already know that if I wanted to delve really deep into each of these modules, they are most likely going to be bundled courses where each module is actually a course of its own. Right, so this is what it's really important to say, well, what is my course? Is this a week-long short course? Is this a 6-week long course? Is this a 12-month long course? Because the more time we put into it, the more in-depth we can go. And by understanding what our timeline is, will then help us better rewrite this course goal here. Now you can read my course goal and say how to launch an online course. Now that can be so ambiguous. And can I teach someone how to launch an online course, how to successfully launch an online course in a week? Maybe, if they have already some background, some experience, and we're just focusing on one aspect. The point that I want to make here is that this course goal should be answering the overall problem that your course is solving. Again, regardless if it's a week, a 12-month, regardless if it's one-to-one, regardless if it's self-paced, whatever it is, your course goal should be defining or should be solving a problem. So for me, I can write how to launch an online course, but it's not specific enough. So I want to even delve deeper and deeper and deeper into this and say, well, what is my course actually doing? And by doing this, what's really, really useful to ask myself is, by the end of this course, my clients will have the ability to do what? And when I ask myself that, the phrase in that exact order, my clients will be able to, the only thing that can really follow that makes sense is a verb in its present tense, such as launch, design, create, right? And then I'm starting to identify, well, what problem am I solving? What are they going to be able to do by the end of my course? So I can say launch a successful online course, but what is successful, right? What is successful to you? What is successful to me? So this is what I do a lot with my clients, that we really delve deeper and deeper into this. And when we dive deeper into this, what really helps is by going into the learning outcomes and the knowledge, skills, and abilities. Because, let me just get rid of all these examples here. What helps me now is say, okay, well, my overall goal is to launch a successful online course. Now I'm going to go through 3 to 5 learning outcomes I want to write for each of my modules. 3 to 5 learning outcomes is what I want to do, which is why there's only 3. You can add more. And when I start to do that, I say, okay, well, this learning outcome, how are people going to learn how to design an online course? And is the outcome that I write here going to help people to launch a successful online course? And as you start to delve deeper and deeper into the planning, the learning outcomes, the knowledge, skills, and abilities, you can then come back and start to refine your course goal. So you don't need to have, right now I know that my course goal is very ambiguous. I know it's not specific enough. I also know that I don't need to make it specific right now. As I delve deeper into my course planning and my designing section, I can then start to refine it. So an outcome for designing an online course that I know that I will be teaching is, again, you ask yourself, my clients will have the ability to create a clear and in-depth course structure or outline. And again, I might come back to this and say, wait a second, this needs to be, what is clear and what is in depth? So can I say a specific or a non-ambiguous? I'm just going to write clear for now. All right, so come through these, and as you go through these, start to jot them down. Like I said, I like to jot them down on post-it notes. Put them on your wall, write on a window, write on a whiteboard, whatever it may be. Start to jot your thoughts down. And at this point, what I'm doing is I'm saying that the learning outcomes here, each learning outcome is going to help people to design an online course, and that section is going to help them solve the overall problem. In this stage, the overall problem is not being able to launch an online course, not publishing an online course. Right? There's lots of little problems involved in this. There's lots of little problems here. I can even delve deeper and deeper into these examples of different course goals and how you can go, how you can start to become even more specific. The biggest advice I do have for you is start somewhere, start scribbling it down, do a mind map, and then change it later on. Right? This is your version 1. You can launch your first online course. Start to launch content for your online course, and as you start to gain feedback from your clients, from your students, come back to this course outline template, or this is my template. Come back to the course outline and see if there's anything that you can change. Right? Don't overwhelm yourself by trying to make sure that it is perfect before you launch everything. Right? Let's just have the minimum that we need to be able to do our first launch. Okay, so let's go back to my design an online course. Create a clear course structure and outline. And I know to be able to do this, right? To be able to do this, if I go over to my knowledge, skills, and abilities, if you would like to know more about knowledge, skills, and abilities, I've done a session on goals, learning outcomes, and knowledge, skills, and abilities, which is in this group. We can go over to it in a guide and check it out. But this is the knowledge, skills, and abilities. So if we were to break this down, let me just click that button. Okay. If we were to break this down, we have our goal, which is our overall problem we're solving. Then we break that down into 3 to 4 modules, or 3, however many you like, again dependent on what course you're doing. You may not know what the modules are until you've started to write all these learning outcomes, and you can then start to see what you group them together. But the learning outcomes I'm writing are the steps that my clients will take, the steps that my students will take to be able to achieve this overall goal. So, I don't even need this page. Why can't I hide my page, my A? Let's just pretend that that's hidden. Okay. My point that I'm making is that we don't need to know our modules. We don't need to know everything at the beginning. Start to say, okay, for my clients to solve that overall problem, this one here, what do they need to do? What steps do they need to take? And this is also an important, I'm just going to put a little extra caveat in here. It's also important at this stage to talk to your clients. So what I'm doing here, I'm not writing this off the top of my head. I'm not just scribbling this down. This is after speaking to people. This is after working with clients one-on-one. after chatting to people online and understanding their struggles, their overwhelm, their concerns, what they've tried, what they want to do, understanding all this information then helps me to be able to understand where they are now and where they want to go. So if I was to break this down, back to where we were, if I was to break this down, this is the first step, or one of many steps. And then if I wanted to break this down to knowledge, skills, and abilities, these three here are telling me what the students will be able to do. So that is, what knowledge will they have? What understanding will they have? What concepts will they be able to understand by the end of the course? What skills, what practical things will they be able to do by the end of the course? And finally, abilities is when we're combining knowledge and skills. So we're saying, with everything that you know, with all of your understanding, all of your conceptual understandings, and with all of your opportunities to practice this, how can we then use those two together to solve problems in the future? So consider the abilities as combining the knowledge skills together and doing something like it's second nature, doing something more conceptual. Let me give you another example. The knowledge part is like someone being able to recite information to you, being able to tell you something. For example, I can say, go and read this article about Facebook Lives, and then come back to me and tell me why Facebook Lives are great. For example, this is just an example. Now that's just knowledge. That's just a conceptual understanding of something. Then we take it to the next level, which is the skills. And we say, with your conceptual understanding, go and do something. So that might be, taking my example a step further, is go and do a live video and fill in this information. Use this description, use this title, use this image, for example, right? And the skills is when we're practicing something over and over and over again. We're following written instructions or verbal instructions, whatever they may be. We might be doing something over and over again. Now our abilities in this example is when we say, okay, well, myself as a course creator and as an admin of a group, I know why Facebook Lives are good. I know how to do them, but then how do I execute them to support you further in building a course? Right? And that's the ability side. That's when we're putting our skills together and we're no longer following written instructions. We're no longer going through step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. We're actually using our cognitive abilities, our cognitive understanding, and what we've practiced to then turn that into our abilities and start to form new abilities, which comes over time. So why do I delve into all of that? Well, now I need to break that down, because our knowledge, skills, and abilities, by me saying someone's going to have an understanding, for example, understand the benefits and I can't think of the word, negatives I'm going to rephrase that. Understand the benefits of a course structure. I'm going to put another one in here as well. Oopsies. The other one, is it Alt? Yeah. Understand the, what's the word I'm thinking of? The bad things. I'm just going to use the negatives of not having a course structure. Right? So this is a step in being able to achieve this learning outcome. Right? So before you can create, you need to understand why. Why do you need to create one? What's the benefits of having one? What's the disadvantages? There we go. What's the disadvantages of not building one? What are the repercussions, the consequences of not having one? And then the skills. Now the skills are the skill to mind map, or the skill to break down a problem you are solving, for example, into manageable steps. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm breaking down this learning outcome into knowledge and skills, and then abilities. we do not need to have knowledge, skills, and abilities for each one. For example, let's say a learning outcome is actually this. Right, this is the learning outcome. Understand the benefits of a course structure. Now, by this, the learning outcome that I have here, understand, falls within this category here. If I was to quickly Google something for you, actually I can pull it up. What I want to pull up here is the different levels of learning. Now these different levels of learning is Bloom's Taxonomy of Learning. I'm not going to get into this deep right now. Let me pull up an image for us. I hope you can see this okay. I'm just bringing it across to my other screen. There it is. Okay, so there's lots on here. But if I go to Bloom's Taxonomy, I just pulled up one image here. Now what this is the different levels of learning. And why I bring this up here is that when I talk about knowledge, skills, and abilities, I'm combining remember and understand into knowledge, apply and analyze into skills, and evaluate and create into abilities. And the verbs that I'm using here, create, understand, break down, these verbs that I'm using fall within one of these categories here. So again, if I was to pull up another image for you, which I have somewhere, the other image that I want to pull up is a breakdown of these verbs for you. It's all going to make sense soon. Again, if you have any questions, let me know. Let me know in the chat. If you would like me to go over something different, if you would like a different example. If you have an example of a course goal that you would like to break down, let me know as well. Or if you want an example, if you're stuck on a particular learning outcome or particular knowledge, ask me. We can always go through your example for ideas. Okay, so this one here, again, we're looking at this knowledge, understanding, apply, analyze, evaluate, and create. Again, 1 and 2, I put into knowledge. 3 and 4, I put into skills. And then 5 and 6, I put into abilities. So here, right, what we can see, now this is not an exhaustive list, right? You can see here we've got knowledge and understanding. So if I was to change a word, let's say for example, identify or recognize. Let's say that this was recognize the benefits of a course structure. This is, then I know by using my Bloom's Taxonomy course outline here, that I can see that the verb recognize sits under knowledge, and there's not going to be any skill after this. There's not going to be any abilities for this particular learning outcome. So first it's recognize the benefits. All I need to do is do knowledge. I don't need to worry about any skills nor abilities, right? And if I'm scaffolding as well, which I most likely do, then, so I'm just moving all around the screen here. When I'm scaffolding, what makes more sense is that we do scaffold like this, where we go, okay, well first let's give the understanding. Then once there's been the understanding, then let's give the ability to practice. Once there's been the ability to practice, so they've understood, they've practiced, then how do we support them in forming these abilities? Okay. So here, the knowledge that I can put in is this one. Right? And then in the create a clear course structure, maybe I don't need to have knowledge because the knowledge is already here. I'm just going to have skills. Now see how much I'm playing around with this as well? Is that this isn't just a brain dump that's just going to happen overnight. It's something that works over time, and as you speak to more people, you can adapt it as you start to ask people, what do you want in the course? Now, at this point as well, when I'm working through something, if I say, for example, let's say that my learning outcome here for create an online course is record a video, right? And here I have practice recording a video and upload. Okay, this is just an example. Here, what I like to do at this point is if I know that I really want to teach something in particular, like I really know that with this example, I'm going to put a comment in, and here I would like to say, show a behind the scenes of the equipment I use, have a step-by-step instructions to record live on Facebook. So what I'm doing at this point is that as I'm starting to write these out, I get these good ideas of going, okay, well, that's how I can help them. What I'm trying to indicate here is that when I have an idea of how I can teach this skill, I quickly write down. I write down in comments because I don't want to lose that. I don't want to lose that creativity. So you would see that I've had some course outline template or course outlines that I've created, that I've got all these different types of comments all written over them. I've even got a notes section here because I don't want to lose that creativity. I want to obviously maintain those good ideas. So scribble it down. If you're writing on a whiteboard, scribble it down. Get those ideas out of your mind straight away. You might refine them later on, but at least you won't forget them. Now the final step that's been happening over here is in my course outline, because I've moved some things around. What's been happening is my learning outcomes have come across here. And at this point I can say, okay, well, I already know that I want to do a live webinar for this, that I want to do some quizzes. Again, I'm just selecting these at random, but also at this point I can add a comment in, right? Of, okay, talk about XYZ, for example. And what I'm doing again is reminding myself what's going to be covered in this. Because once we have this, once I've identified what I'm going to be using to teach this learning outcome based on understanding what the knowledge, skills, and abilities are, then I can start to go into my storyboarding, which is my next step, which I start to do the outlining even further. For example, for this session, I've got a mini outline of what I wanted to go through. It doesn't have to be an exhaustive storyboard, but what it's doing, by understanding at this point how I'm going to be teaching something, it helps me stay on track by saying, okay, well, in this live webinar, all I'm going to be doing is discussing the benefits of a course structure. I'm also going to highlight if I scroll back over here, because in my recognize the benefits of a course structure, I know that my knowledge is to understand the benefits of a course structure. It's also to understand the negatives or the disadvantages of not having a course structure. So when I come over here, I want to say, if I edit this, first, I'm just thinking off here, start with benefits and then explain disadvantages. Right, and I might have a video demo here as well, for example. Or maybe not a video demo. Maybe I'll have a case study. And here, the case study is case study of someone that did not have a course outline. What happened? Right, so as I'm writing this down, it's helping me to start to list out, well, what are the next tasks that I'm going to be doing? And it helps me to stay focused is by saying, okay, well, I'm going to do a case study and I know exactly what I'm going to be doing. Obviously, these are just examples I'm writing here. So for today, our question that we had for today was, how do I structure all of my content? And this is the answer, is by structuring this, right? By having this learning outcome, by having it all mapped out and putting it in a specific order, helps you to then understand, how should I structure my content? What makes the best sense? Now again, remember, I start with post-it notes or a whiteboard where I scribble everything down and I create a flow. And I'm creating a scaffolding flow where I'm saying, okay, well, first, to be able to launch a successful online course, first you need to design, then create, then launch. Now you would do these in iteration, so do little small little milestones at a time and go through this pattern as a loop. But to be able to do it, then I need to first recognize, why should I have a course structure? How do I create a course structure? What technology do I use to record a video? How do I edit it? Where do I then put all that content? What type of flow should I have for all of my content? How do I help people move between one video to the next? All of these is in this information here. Because what we're stopping from doing is jumping from one step to the next step and missing so many little bits in between. And then by delving even deeper, by saying, well, what will we actually be teaching? This is helping me to create a flow. And then the next step is to start to storyboard that information. I haven't gone into storyboarding yet in this group, but I do have a YouTube clip where you can review storyboarding. Basically, it's a further outline, but it's focusing just on one lesson. I do storyboarding for my YouTube videos so that I can keep them short. And I say exactly what I'm going to be doing in the first 2 minutes, the second 2 minutes, and the final minute. And that takes practice too, but it helps me to reduce the amount of times that I need to record something. By reducing the amount of times that I record, also reduces the amount of time I need to edit. And all of that has been derived from my outline that I've created. So I'm going to continue to build this outline because this is a real life course. I'm talking as I'm going, obviously. So I can't use all of my creativity to write down exactly what will be going, but I'm happy to do another session about this and even do a little blog about what I've learned through this process, what I would do different in the future. So keep an eye out for them. All of my blogs are on my website and all of my videos are on YouTube. If you do have any questions, or if there's something particular that you would like to see, let me know and I'll be happy to cover that in our next session next week. Okay, that's all from me today. Happy course creating. If you do want this template, let me know and I'll send it across to you. It does also come with a how to use this template at the beginning, so you can read through that little bit of a guideline. All right, I hope you have a great week and happy course creating. Bye for now. You're welcome, Melissa.